We have a degree of difficulty formula to help us understand the different levels of the maneuvers. So all the dives have a different variation in the number of somersaults and twists that they have. So we need this tariff to help us understand how hard the dive is. So obviously the more somersaults and twists that you add, the more difficult the dive. However, you have more intricate components that affect the degree of difficulty, like the shape in the air. And for example, you have the tuck position, which is like a ball shape, and that puts you into a really small position and allows you to spin really fast, and that gives you a lower degree of difficulty. But then, for example, when you have the pike position, which is more like an L shape, that means you're bigger and longer, and it's harder to spin as fast, and then that increases the degree of difficulty.
Picking your dives is just something that it kind of depends on your personal diving style and what types of maneuvers you like to do. So I'm a fan of the twists. My favorite dive is my reverse twister, and my handstand also has a lot of twists in it. So I think with a sport that's extreme and dangerous like cliff diving, you kind of pick the ones that you're comfortable with and the ones that you can feel confident going into.
And if we start with a handstand, instantly you have a higher degree of difficulty. Then if we start with Mikhail's dive, he does a back arm stand, 2.5 somersaults with 1.5 twists. That degree of difficulty adds up to 5.2. Then if you add another twist to it, which is what David does, so that's back arm stand, 2.5 somersaults with 3 twists, then his degree of difficulty increases to 5.6. Then we have this new dive that Blake Aldridge did, which is just insane. Back arm stand, 2.5 somersaults with 4 twists, and the degree of difficulty just jumps up dramatically to 6.3, because that last twist, you know, just becomes so much more difficult when you're going above 2 twists.
In fact, the judges are not supposed to take DD into account. Their scores are multiplied by the DD afterwards, so they just have to take every dive individually and try and pick out the faults.
You want to have the highest DD that you can, but the judges are giving you scores based only on the dive and not the degree of difficulty. So you have to make sure you do good quality dives. You want high degree of difficulty, but you want good quality dives. Just doing difficult dives for low scores is just not going to count.
I don't think you can really put a limit on the DD, because if you look back at 10-meter diving, 30 years ago, they wouldn't have even imagined doing the dives that they're doing now. And it's the same for this sport. It's a relatively new sport. There's only been a few years where people have been really pushing it, and so I think it's got a long way to go.
Every year I think there's just going to be bigger and harder dives that come out, and it's just really cool to see them, and it's awesome to be a part of it, and to push the envelope myself is just an extraordinary feeling, and it's nice to know that I'm a part of that.